Hello and welcome to the third and final game of the first day of the NBL playoff final. This is the Division 2 men's final where team Solent Kestrels will be taking on Barking Abbey. I'm Verity Marchant and I'm joined on court with Chuck Drew. Let's get straight into it because these two teams have been neck and neck most of the season. The Kestrels just pipped them to the top of the league, but Barking won when the two teams faced each other late on. What a game this should be, right?
Yeah, very exciting matchup between Barking Abbey. I've played against both of them this season in NBL2, so I know them very, very well. You've got two really good, well-coached teams, two young, exciting teams, so definitely should be a thriller.
And the Kestrels won 110-86 against London All-Stars in their semi-final. They can be a high-scoring team. Do you reckon we'll see that today? And if so, who's going to lead that line?
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. They're the best offensive team in NBL2 South. Average about 90 to 100 points a game, but on the other side you've got Barking Abbey, who are the best defensive team in the league, so you've really got a clash of offense versus defense. So you would expect Solent to have a high scoring output today, but Barking, like I said, have the best defensive record in the league.
Yeah, Barking lost their last home game of the season, but they did pick themselves up, won very comfortably in their quarter and semi-finals. How important is the mental side of it going to be today for Barking? Yeah,
it must have been tough, to lose the league in the manner that they did against London Stars. Credit to London Stars, they're a really good team, but Barking have done a really good job to pick themselves up. 2 good wins in the playoffs en route to this final. So, today will be a test of character for them to see, can they put those demons behind them and, have a good performance today.
And ahead of this game, I caught up with Barking Abbey head coach Ricky Boardmore and Team Solent Kestrels head coach Matt Diamond. Here's what they had to say. What have you been saying to the team to get them focused today? Because I imagine there's quite a lot of the mental side of it with how these teams have been up against each other all season.
I mean, to be honest with you, the whole mental thing has been a work in process all season. It's about getting to that right emotional level to be able to perform at the level that we want to. So it's about, to be honest, it's just like any other game, just different venue. We played these guys last week, so again, the mental prep has been a continuous process for us.
What's the key focus for your team today? The one thing that, if they execute really well, is going to give them the edge?
Their transition. Their transition is pretty spot on. So, we have to be able to make it a half-court game. But yeah, their transition, and they play beautiful basketball, so it's going to be a challenge for us defensively today.
Great, well, thank you and best of luck.
No, thank you very much.
What are you going to take into today's game based on the result last time these two teams played?
So, yeah, we're really familiar with Barking. They're an excellent team. They play at a fast pace. And for us, we need to defend at a level and an intensity, which we unfortunately didn't do last game.
What's going to be the key to getting that win today? What do you think that your team are going to need to really excel in?
So I think it's going to be, controlling the tempo of the game, getting the tempo more to what our team wants to play at, and then limiting turnovers, and then I think it's going to be who controls the rebounds as well.
And how do you keep the team focused and motivated and not too distracted by the event of today?
Luckily, we've got quite an experienced team. So we've had players that have played in finals before, and their experience, especially towards some of our younger players, will be really valuable.
Great. Well, best of luck.
All right. Thank you.
This is shaping up to be a great game. Both teams have played each other a lot this season. They've had a lot of back and forth, know each other very well. This can be a high-scoring and very quick end-to-end game. So I'm going to hand you over to our commentary team of John Hobbs, who is once again joined by Chuck Drew.
Thank you very much, Verity, and it is time for the final game of day one, the Division 2 men's final, and what an absolute cracker it's going to be. Team Solent Kestrels against Barking Abbey. Good evening, everybody. John Hobbs alongside Chuck Drew. And Chuck, you know these two teams very well, of course, playing for the Barnet Bulldogs. You played these two teams a number of times. what are the similarities between these two teams and any strong points for the two?
Yeah, I mean, similarities, you know, they're both very well drilled, very well coached, very disciplined teams. You know, they run their sets really, really well, and they make it difficult for teams to score on them. You know, we look at the league this year. You know, Solent, they had the best offense of the league, averaged 90 to 100 points a game, and in Barking, you've got the best defense in the league. You know, if you look at their games in the run-up to this final, you know, they held Leicester Warriors to less than 50 points. You know, they had NASA to less than 60 points. So it's going to be really a case of offense versus defense.
Let's look at the two teams, starting with Barking Abbey. And there's a plethora of EABL talent. Of course, Barking Abbey won the EABL crown a few weeks ago here in Manchester. And a lot of talent. Lewis Oboria with the MVP award. But Amali Wilkinson, another player to look out for. And Ethan Conroy, who has not the greatest of playoffs, but really can blow it up when needed.
Yeah, no, it's you right. You know, I spoke with Coach Ricky Broadmoor before the game. And, you know, one of the things he was very big on was, you know, the team's been centered around a great group of individuals, a great group of young players, supported by a small cast of senior players. So, you know, you mentioned Wilkinson, you know, an under-19 player of the year, phenomenal player, the heartbeat of this team. You know, Lewis Obiora, the anchor defensively, and Ethan Conway, their leading scorer, who's a sharpshooter. So, you know, they've put together a nice group, a nice blend of experience, a nice blend of young players, but, you know, they've put together a really good team this year.
And going to the Solent Kestrels, the Division 2 South champions. They won it in a pulsating final day of action, of course. Russell Garipi, a player that we're all familiar with, a really strong player. Andre Arisol is another one, under the tutelage of Matt Guyman, one of British basketball's premier head coaches.
Yeah, you know, Team Solent, can't speak good enough about them. You know, over the last 5-6 years, they've been dominant across the NBL in Division 1, Division 2. Matt Guyman, a coach that's been here many a time in Division 1, was here last year, suffered heartbreak against Milton Keynes in the final. You know, he'll be looking, you know, personally for him to right his wrong from last year. But yeah, this group they've got together, their starting five, I believe, is the best starting five in NBL2 and NBL1 caliber starting five. Issa Brandon, Andre Arisol, players who have Division 1 and BBL experience. So yeah, they've put together a really good team, a team that plays together.
Starting fives for the two teams. For Solent, Russell Garipi, Andre Arisol, Issa Brandon, Greg Durand, and Ashley Briggs, the man in the middle. For Barking Abbey, Adam Lukasevicius, Ethan Conway, Lewis Oberia, Amali Wilkinson, and Elias Taiwo playing against his former club today. Of course, he was in this very game last season, Elias Taiwo, as was the Solent Kestrels. They came up short against the Milton Keynes Breakers, looking to go one better today. And that man, Russell Garipi, has been in absolute red-hot form in the playoffs, especially from downtown. He's hit 8 3-pointers in his last 2 games, as Oberia and Ashley Briggs will jump it out to start this game. Great to have you all on board the Basketball England YouTube channel. This is a late tip-off due to the late running Div 3 and WNBL Division 2 games, but we are underway, and Barking Abbey get the first possession with Conroy. Well, Conway, excuse me. Here is Conway still on the ball. Loses it. Arisol with the steal. And Durant going strong. Good tracking back there from Sales.
Really physical beginning. You know, I think both teams are trying to set the tone for the rest of the game.
Elias Taiwo, excuse me, with the track back. Elias Taiwo and Laquan Sales exchanging jersey numbers at the very last second. Here is Wilkinson. Step through. Beautiful footwork is no good, but it will go out of bounds. And it will stay with Barking Abbey.
Interesting start by Solent there. You see they're really trying to deny Conway getting any sort of involvement in the offense. They've got Greg Durant picking him up.
Oberia. Tyro. Shot clock at 5 for Barking Abbey. Tyro runs into trouble, and Arisol with the steal, and here is Brandon. Brandon now attacking Conroy, blocked by Aberia. 7'2", Lewis Oberia, and Wilkinson attacking. Conway a 3, and Arisol the rebound. Fast-paced start, though, to this contest.
Yeah, that seems to be the theme of today. You know, everybody's getting after it. Real up-and-down pace game.
Gerapi a 3, money. And Solent off and running here in the Division 2 playoff final. Conway finds Taiwo. Of course, no one knows this team better than he does, but the ball goes out of bounds, and Solent will get the possession.
Great start defensively by Solent. They're really doing a good job making Barkin's offense really, you know, they're being really stingy on defense, not letting Barkin get anything easy.
Well, you say best defense against best offense really today. Barking Abbey have been stoic defensively this season, and Solent leading the league in scoring at 92 points a game. Durand, 2 minutes played in the first. Durand driving, blocked by Aberia again. 2 blocks early doors for the 7-footer. Here is Wilkinson down the middle. Taiwo, the extra pass. And Aberia looked for the screensaver dunk.
Nearly had a body bag there, man.
Ashley Briggs, though, stood his ground, but that's his first foul. Of course, Ashley Briggs he'll be relishing that contest with the youngster. Of course, ABL Finals MVP back in March. 10 points, 10 boards, 5 blocks. But free throws not his specialty as he misses the first.
He's going to be very key for them. I think Lewis Obiara, he's going to 7 foot. He's going to alter shots. He's going to block shots. He's going to be their defensive presence, as he has been all season. So for Solent, you know, they're going to have to try and see if they can get him away from the rim.
And he makes the first. Oberia is actually a 40% foul shooter for the season. It's one of the areas he tries to work on most days at the academy. Here is Briggs. Gerapi pulls up, misses the 2. It's rebounded by Durant, who has all the time in the world to put it up and put it in. And Solent out to a quick 5-1 lead. Lukacevicus. Here is Conway. Wilkinson, corner pocket 3 is long, and it's rebounded by Gerapi. Gerapi now attacking the lane, blocked by Conway. Already Barking Abbey are protecting the paint fiercely.
Yeah, I think both teams are doing a great job of, you know, making everything at the rim contested. Solent, you know, over the years, Matt Guyman, that's been his DNA of his defense, making everything in the paint difficult for his oppositions.
And the ball will stay with Solent. Plenty of time on the shot clock, 13 to be exact. Arisol gets it back. Arisol finds a bit of a lane, finds Brandon. Arisol gets it back, short with his 3, rebounded by Obiara. Conway. Taiwo driving at Brandon, runs into trouble, picks up his dribble and is fouled by Issa Brandon.
Yeah, not a great foul there. He's trying to... Ilias Taiwo got stuck there and he's trying to look for an outlet pass, but Issa Brandon commits a foul that might end up haunting him down the stretch. Really physical game, this one.
We haven't had a field goal in the last 2 minutes so far, but there's been a lot of physicality, a lot of bumping around. Conway under the basket, turns, gets his own rebound, misses on the follow, Wilkinson.
Good job by Wilkinson. The smallest guy on the floor gets the offensive putback. We love to see it.
Older sister Savannah, of course, a GB Women's International, is here today watching on. Briggs inside. And the ball goes right out of bounds and right into Josh Round, the videographer's knees. Good catch. Of course, disappointment for his sister earlier on with Milton Keynes Breakers narrowly losing out in the WNBL Division 2 final. It's like a family affair here today, isn't it? Here is Wilkinson.
Yeah, I was just about to say, we've got two families with multiple siblings that are involved in basketball today. I think that must be a first.
Of course, Ruth Eitel, the head coach of London All-Stars, his son RJ, who plays for the Cheshire Phoenix, is here as well. It's all going on. Two-point game early doors. Here is Brandon. Gerapi finds Arisol. Gerapi gets it back. No hesitation. A three is short. It's rebounded by Taiwo. Taiwo now full head of steam. Nearly lost the ball. Instead finds Obiara and the easy dunk for Lewis Obiara.
Yeah, and that's what they need. They need more of those. They need those dump-offs, those high percentage looks, which are really coming hard to get in this game so far.
Arisol to the rack. Conway. Obiara inside to Taiwo. That'll be a charging foul. As Arisol planted his feet perfectly, and Solent will get the ball back.
Yeah, one of the best in the league at that. He anticipates that Taiwo's a little bit out of control there, and as you see, just gets his feet set firmly outside of the charge circle and gets the offensive foul.
Robina Akufu into the game for the first time for Barking Abbey. Nice give and go, and the finish from Brandon. Beautiful, quick basketball from the Kestrels. And Akufu not wasting any time. Back to business for Barking Abbey. Trailing by 4. Past the halfway point of the first. Wilkinson misses the three. On the follow, Obiara.
Coach Matt Gunn won't be happy with that. I'm sure they would have spoke about in scout. They want to keep Lewis Obiara off the glass, but plays like that will have him with a double-double at the end of the season.
As Arisol will go to the foul. Greg Durand. In fact, that was Arisol with the ball. But so far for Barking Abbey, it's been a good start. They've gotten 4 points on the second chance at the moment, so they're taking advantage inside as you see the replay of Arisol driving to the hoop. And that's a first foul on Lukasevicius, the number 8, as Arisol heads to the line. And talk about a wealth of experience. Andre Arisol, certainly one of those players. Last time out, he was playing Worthing Thunder. He's had spells with Charnwood. Of course, he was a product of the Charnwood Riders. And most notably with the Milton Keynes Breakers last season.
This I believe, is his second stint with Solent as well.
It is, yeah.
Was part of their Division 1 invincible team.
Absolutely,
that dominated Division 1.
Wilkinson, beautiful footwork in the finish. One-point game, 4 minutes to play in the first period. Arisol full head of speed again.
Yeah, great take there by Arisol. Seems to be getting going now. I think Barking will need to make some adjustments there.
And a steal, yeah. 5 points for Arisol. Here he is on the ball. Bit of a mismatch with Obiara, and decides to pass to Brandon. Brandon now attacking. And Wayne Katenge with the bump of Wilkinson. Akufu driving, beautiful move, but can't get it to go. And Gerapi with the rebound, and Arisol slows it. Arisol now attacking.
Coach Guyman on the sideline just signaling. I think he wanted to clear out. He liked the matchup there, wanted to go at it again. So interesting to see what they go with now.
Joe Lloyd checking in for the first time for the Kestrels. And Aniamu comes into the game for the first time for Barking Abbey, the number 32, as Aerosol heads back to the strike for Solent and misses the first. Andre Aerosol, a 70% or just shade under 70% foul shooter for the season. Of course, spent most of last season out with a knee injury as Wayne Katenge gets the offensive rebound. Katenge now muscling his way inside, blocked by Akufu. And Lukasevicius can't hang on, and it will be a Solent possession.
Yeah, see, that's one of those plays where you just got to leave the ball. I think if he doesn't try and grab it, they get the ball in the half court, but a little over-ambitious.
And already 6 turnovers in this first period for Barking Abbey to start, and Ricky Broadmoor will not like that statistic. Here is Katenge. Lloyd. Duran inside to Katenge, muscling his way in. And a foul has been called on Aniamu. And it'll be his first foul.
Substitution checking in. Number 6, Connolly.
The thing with this Barking team is, you know, as great as their defense is, as intense they play, you know, they are very foul prone. I think they were 1 or 2 this season in team fouls across the league. So something Coach Ricky will be wanting this place to have under control.
Titus Warari into the game for the first time for Barking Abbey. Here is Katenge, shot clock at 10. Aerosol gets round the screen, and it came off a foot, so Solent will keep it, and a fresh 14 on the clock. For the fast-paced start that we've had, the scoring has gone cold, hasn't it, in the last 5 minutes or so. It's now turning into a very low-scoring but physical contest.
Yeah, I think, you know, like we said before the game, you know, Barking's defense is very, very stingy. I think Solent had to match their intensity defensively, especially in these championship games.
5 to shoot. Garapi is blocked by Anyanwu. And Barking Abbey will slow it down. And Garapi nearly stole it off Akufu. Here is Wilkinson. Akufu gets it back at the top. Misses the 3. It's rebounded by Aerosol. Durand driving, bumps Wilkinson, loses the ball, and Barking Abbey come up with it. Wilkinson fouled by Lloyd. And that'll be Joe Lloyd's first foul of the contest. As Issa Brandon checks back in, Durand heads to the bench. Twelve to 9 to the Kestrels, and we were speaking, weren't we, Chuck, about how closely fought this game is going to be. We were even arguing that this might be the closest of the 3 games today, and so far we've been treated to some incredible basketball, 2 closely fought contests that went down to the wire, and this game has the hallmarks of being just that as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, quite right. I almost feel sorry for these 2 teams because they've had 2 games before them that they're going to have to live up to the hype, but you know, going into this game, there was a lot of anticipation. You know, there's been words on social media, there's been the results this year, the drama in the league, like just a lot going into this game. So it's definitely living up to the hype so far.
Tough move inside from Laquan Sales into the game for the first time. And I think he'll be rewarded with 2 shots, he will. Laquan Sales, who's had a very good playoff run with Barking Abbey, 13 points on 62% shooting in the semi-final win over Newham, and backed that one with 12 points, 4 boards in that quarter-final shutout against the Leicester Warriors, where they held the Warriors to below 50. That was the man that masterminded it all, Ricky Broadmoor, in his first year as head coach. James Veer is here today as well, watching on. But like we were talking about with Crawley earlier, Barking Abbey, another brilliant academy, a great pathway for the younger generation of basketball players, and so many great names have come out of that academy.
Yeah, no, too right. You know, I remember as a junior myself playing against Barking when I was at what was formerly Hackney Community College, and we had some great battles against them. But it's great to see they're still, you know, a premier institution for basketball.
Wayne Katenge inside for his first score. Of course, his brother Hosanna Katenge will be watching on, just like he was this afternoon for Crawley. And a foul has been called as Anyamu was driving to the hoop, and he'll go to the line for 2 shots. Foul is on Katenge. 1:20 remaining in the first period, and Solent have a slender 3-point lead, but it could be cut to as little as 1. As Anyamu rattles it out for the first. Barking Abbey, a 62% foul shooting team this season. In fact, conversely, Solent are just a shade under 63% themselves, so both teams do struggle from the line. And saying that, actually, 7 of 20 from the stripe Solent were against the London Stars in the semi-final, so as Aerosol is fouled, and that circus shot will not count. As Katenge comes out, Ashley Briggs comes in, and Garapi will head to the bench as well, replaced by Durand.
You see what Solent are trying to do offensively. They're trying to get Andre Aerosol going downhill with ball screens. I think Barking will have to be careful that they're not over-aggressive, because Andre is really good at, you know, reading a defender and, you know, creating offense for himself. So it's something Coach Ricky would have to think about with how they're going to defend that ball screen. Probably look to go into their 1-2-1, their 2-1-2 zone at some point.
Aerosol making his second. No, it's out off the back iron. Ashley Briggs rebounded it, but it was tipped away. And here is Akufu for Barking Abbey. And Yamwa running into trouble, finds Conway. Here is Sales. Sales now wild pass to Akufu, 5 to shoot for Barking Abbey. Step back jumper from Akufu, and the foul is called on Briggs. Briggs just going into his little spot there where he was jumping. Yeah,
careless one by Briggs. You know, with a couple of seconds left on the clock, you've got to just, you know, soft contest. If he makes it, he makes it. At the end of the day, it's a long 2. Most coaches in the country will be happy with that shot. If he makes it, he makes it.
As Wayne Katenge comes on, Hosanna Katenge is watching on as well. Be kind to me, please, Hosanna. Good to have you on board, and it's great to have so many people watching today. Playoff finals weekend. It's an incredible occasion here in Manchester as the best of the best in British basketball all join forces, but it's also a good weekend where so many people from around the country come to watch these finals. As we say, Savannah Wilkinson is here, of course Ronald Blaine, Lindsay Cleary, Chrissy Karpova, all here as well. It's a fantastic atmosphere, isn't it?
Yeah, it's always good to, you know, get down this here. You know, a lot of people, you know, past, present, future, people are part of British basketball, all here for this great event. And you know, today we've had 2 great games that they'll definitely have been getting their money's worth for sure.
Durand, the 3 as the shot clock winds down, no good. It's rebounded by Offman. Offman got it stripped. Katenge dances with it. Here is Aerosol on the spin, gets it to go. Final seconds of the first period. It's a 5-point lead for Solent. Sales is blocked by Katenge. Huge rejection from Wayne Katenge.
Yeah, great defensive effort there. They've just matched Barking's intensity this first quarter. I came into the game saying that Barking's defense was going to be what, you know, if they're going to be successful, their defense has to be what it's been like all season, but Solent look like they're matching them now.
And final seconds of the first quarter, and Onway and Yamu with the air ball to end it, and that ends the first period. It's been a very chippy but very intense, fast-paced 10 minutes. Solent lead 17-12 as Andre Aerosol leading all scorers right now with 8 points. Luis Obiara leading the way with 5 plus 2 blocks for Barking Abbey, but it's been a very physical first 10 minutes.
Yeah, no, physicality's definitely been there. I think both coaches will be happy. You know, for Solent, they'll want to keep this game fast-paced. I think that suits them. They'll be able to get to their sets at pace. I think for Barking, you know, they've held Solent to 17 points. A low-scoring game is where they thrive. I think the higher this goes into the 80s, 90s, I think that suits Solent. So Coach Ricky will be happy. I think just a little adjustments, and they'll be fine, and I think they'll be back in the game.
Yeah, you mentioned that. Solent, as mentioned earlier, averaging 92 points a game. Conversely, Barking Abbey just 79. So defensively, Barking have really got to just clamp down on Solent, and they've had a number of good stops so far. But Solent have that edge right now, and that's through Andre Aerosol, who's finding gaps within the defense and making them pay.
Yeah, I think Andre's a very crafty player, so for Coach Ricky and Barking, they're going to have to figure out how they're going to limit his impact on the game, particularly with ball screens. He's also a player that Coach Matt Diamond wants to go one-on-one when he has mismatches and create advantages for other players on his team.
And like we've had in the first 2 games here today, both teams here shooting the ball relatively poorly, if it must be said. Solent 38% from the floor. Barking Abbey just 26 for field goals thus far. And 2 of them have come from their 7'2" centre, Luis Obiara. As we get set to start the second period. Been an absolutely fantastic day of basketball here in Manchester. Of course, we've got tomorrow's showpieces as well, as Cola, Southwark Pride and Ipswich do battle in the Division 1 women's final, and then it all ends with the Reading Rockets taking on the Milton Keynes Breakers in what should be a titanic final day of Basketball England action as we start the second period here in Manchester. Here is Durand. Finds Brandon. Brandon pulls up. A 2 shot is no good. And it's rebounded, and a quick foul is called as Amali Wilkinson was looking to break quickly.
Interesting decision by Coach Matt Diamond to go with the young itching product Hoffman, who's not really featured a lot this season, but you know, he's trusted him in the biggest game of the year, arguably. As I say that, he subs him out
subs
now.
Right out. He must have heard you. But yeah, Hoffman only played 5 games this season, averaging around 6 minutes a game, as you say, a product of Itchen College. Kufu. Kufu still has it. Shot clock in single figures. Step back jumper, and that's short. And a whistle has gone under the hoop. And that's on Wayne Katinge. That'll be his first foul of the evening. (17-12). Early doors in the second period in the Division 2 final. Sales, good footwork, but blows the layup. Katinge says thank you very much. And here is Aerosol. Of course, 2 former Worthing Thunder players there linking up in Katinge and Aerosol. And the pass from Garapi intended for Aerosol goes right into the front row.
Yeah, it seemed like he panicked a bit. I think he should have just, you know, held the ball, at least let the play progress a little bit. Maybe he made an easier pass and got something easy out of it, but
Obiara to Akufu. Sales putting the moves on Durant, finds Obiara, and a baseline jumper is good.
Yeah, he can knock down that shot, that 15-footer. He doesn't shoot many, but, you know, he's confident to shoot the ball.
He's only been playing the sport a couple of years as well, so the progress he has made has been absolutely phenomenal. As Aerosol gets bumped, nearly got the and one, but instead he will go for two.
You see again that ball screen that seems to be giving Barking some problems.
As Kirby Mabaya comes in for Barking Abbey, and Abina Akufu will head to the bench. Of course, majority of these Barking Abbey players also plying their trade in the EABL as well. Of course, the national champions in the Elite Basketball Academy League, defeating Myerscough in the final. Of course, Lewis Iberia, the number 14, had a block party here, and everyone from Myerscough was invited for that one. As Aerosol makes the second. And here he is on the ball. But in unfamiliar territory, so here is Wilkinson to give him up. Sales to back to Wilkinson at the top. Wilkinson finds a bit of room, doesn't exploit it though. Obiara and Kitenge were fighting for it, and it will go to the Kestrels.
Solent jump into that 2-3 zone that seems to have startled Barking. But, you know, Coach Matt Guyon will use that 2-3 zone to sort of change the tempo of the game, as he does very effectively during the season. So, be interested to see how Barking solve this puzzle.
Aerosol a three, splash. Only Solent's second three of the game, but it's forced a timeout out of Coach Broadmoor, who wants to just calm his troops down. And we see beautiful off-ball movement from Aerosol, and splashes the three.
I think a much-needed timeout there. They're in danger of this game getting pulled away very quickly.
Well, yeah, they're up by 8 as well, aren't they? So, a very wise timeout from Ricky Broadmoor. As you see, Matt Guyman just giving some instructions to his team, who right now are on a roll, leading 22-14 with 1 minute and 58 seconds played in this second period at the National Basketball Performance Centre in Manchester. And we talk about the incredible day that we've had, and of course the award winners, and Ricky Broadmoor, South Coach of the Year, a fantastic accomplishment for him, and really well deserved for a first-year coach.
Yeah, no, definitely very well deserved. He did a terrific job with Barking. I keep saying they were unlucky not to win the league this year. And with this young group, he speaks so highly of his group. He puts a lot of praise for the young guys and the supporting veterans. But well deserved award.
As we get ready to restart, of course, congratulations to Chris Bourne, the Coach of the Year in the North for the Bristol Academy Flyers, and David Thomas, the MVP, and of course Ryan Martin from London Stars getting the MVP award for the South. London Stars, like these two teams, coming so close to claiming the title.
Yeah, they were another tough team in NBL South, NBL2 South this year. Ryan, much deserved MVP, a player that's played at a very high level, someone I've known since I was very young. So yeah, it's good to see him getting the award and getting the recognition.
Aerosol straight away goes to the basket. Kitenge fighting for it, and Wilkinson comes up with it. And now Sales, nearly fouled, steps back for three. He wants a foul. It's a very scrappy possession there, but it stays with Barking Abbey. Yeah,
a lot of contact there. I think Greg Durant was lucky not to get an unsportsman foul there. I think he almost grabs the jersey of Sales there.
Sales, yeah.
Coach Ricky Broadmoor just pleading his case, but to no avail.
Here is Wilkinson. Straight away, a three is off the back iron from Mabaya. And here comes Solent again, just about kept it in. And Brandon comes up with it, and Brandon with the easy finish.
Yeah, it's a scrappy play, but they get a bucket out of it. So.
Lukasevicius a three, and that's short. Of course, he is a great three-point shooter, Adam Lukasevicius, as Brandon finds Katenge, who muscles his way to the basket. And leaves Wilkinson dropping as well. Right now, Wayne Katenge having himself a fantastic game inside. He's been such a dominating presence. And especially with a 7'1" center he's going up against, you know, more than holding his own. But Wayne Katenge is a veteran at this. He's been here before.
Yeah, quite right. You know, he's not the most skilled big man, but what he does have is a physical presence and a great touch around the basket. You know, all season, you know, he's been essentially their best reserve, in my opinion, off the bench. He comes in, he does a good job on the glass, around the rim, and just an X factor for Solent.
Well, the Katenges have hearts of lions, there's no doubt about that. Wilkinson, Conway, good defense from Duran. Conway still has it and misses the two, and Katenge with the rebound. That's rebound number 5 for Wayne Katenge, who goes around the screen. He wants the pick and roll. Aerosol airballs the floater.
Yeah, it looked like he felt some contact. He was trying to get a foul there, but again, the ref.
And Obiara traveled with it. Just got a little too excited because he saw his name in lights there, but forgot to dribble the ball as he got it.
Yeah, Barking just not having the composure right now, which is playing into Solent's game plan. They look like Solent are controlling the tempo. They look like they're controlling how this game's going. I think Barking need to make some kind of adjustments because they are in danger of this lead blowing up to 20.
Well, yeah, exactly. As Garapi extends, no, he doesn't extend the lead further, so a let-off for Barking Abbey. Mabaya has it and gets it back off Obiara. Good defense from Brandon, but better offense from Mabaya.
Yeah, great take there by the young fella. He's got Brandon on his shoulder, on his hip, and then finishes the tough layup.
Gap is down to 10. Durand driving, kicks it out. Aerosol, the three, gets it to go, and a foul! Andre Aerosol with a potential 4-point play opportunity.
Yeah, they're having a tough time stopping him now. Andre's in the zone now. I think Coach Ricky might have to think about another timeout because this lead is in danger of getting, you know, we're at 13 points now, potentially 14, could be 20 very quickly.
And into the game for the first time for Solent, Jaden Dawes, who averaged a shade under 13 points a game this season with Itchin in the EABL, so a player that can get it done. And getting it, well, looking to get some points in the senior final here today. As Elias Taiwo comes back in for Barking Abbey. And the protective tape that Andre Aerosol has on his shoulder, almost a bit of a trademark for him, is being told to be fastened a little bit. It is very loose, as you can see.
Yeah, we'll probably look to get that replaced at half-time.
And a 4-point play has been converted. It's Solent's biggest lead of the game. Conway blocked, and away comes Solent again, and Aerosol still has it. Inside, Brandon gets it to go, and a foul! A 16-point lead for the Kestrels.
Again, another rushed offense by Barkin leads to an easy score the other end by Issa Brandon.
And now Issa Brandon will head to the stripe.
Coach Ricky Broadmoor's quite animated again on the sideline. I think he's begging for a call there, but in my opinion, there wasn't enough there to call a foul there. I think he should be more frustrated with his decision-making of his players right now. I think Conway's decision to try and go north-south and sort of put up a rush shot rather than, you know, slowing the game down, getting into their offense and getting an easy look.
Right now, the officials just having a chat with Matt Guyman, and Gerapi and Aerosol there to meet as well. As Issa Brandon preparing to convert, or look to convert, the three-point play opportunity. As Daniel Fowell-Malloy comes into the game for the first time, and Andre Aerosol heads to the bench. Of course, Fowell-Malloy, another product of Itchen College. Spent 2 years actually at Plymouth before coming back. He actually had a season at Worcester as well. And the lead stretches even further. A 17-point lead for Southampton's finest. Wilkinson. Lukačević a three. That's no good, and it's rebounded by Brandon. Durand, change of direction, the floater agonizingly falls out, and Mabaya rebounds. Mabaya now taking it 2 doors, and a foul has been called.
Yeah, good foul by the young fella there. Maybe didn't do it intentionally, but it stops any momentum that Barking had going the other way. So Coach Guyman just applauding him on the sideline.
And Dan Fowell-Malloy's cameo on the court comes to a close. Aerosol comes back in. I think that was to adjust. That must have been to adjust his shoulder, I think. As Conway can't hold on, but Barking Abbey will keep it. 4:48 remaining. And right now, Barking really in a bit of a hole at this time. Solent shooting 44% from the floor. Barking Abbey just 23, and that is their 9th turnover.
Yeah, just a lot of unforced turnovers now. I think they're letting the game or the moment get to them. I think they're struggling to really get into any groove. But credit to Solent. Solent are bringing it to them. You know, they're bringing it to them on defensive end and offensively. So.
Well, Solent were here last season in the Division 2 final. They lost to Milton Keynes Breakers. As ball batted around, Aerosol and Conway were scrapping for it. And a foul has been called on Andre Aerosol. And that'll be his first foul.
Substitution checking into the game for Barking Abbey. A 24 seconds replacing Conway.
As Conway will come out. And Sales, excuse me, Elias Taiwo will come in. Here is Sales. Mabaya looks for Wilkinson. Backing down, Aerosol, beautiful move from Amali Wilkinson.
Yeah, great take, man. An underrated post player.
And here is Brandon, good defense there from Sales. Needed stop for Barking Abbey. Taiwo now right down Main Street. And a whistle has gone, and it will be a Solent ball.
Yeah, interesting there. It looked like it came off it looked like it came off Greg Durand. As we obviously see here, yeah, the referee's got it right. It's come off Elias Taiwo's elbow. That's why I'm not a ref.
We could never do that job.
No way.
I wouldn't look good in that uniform either. Here is Durand, has a bit of space. Aerosol, a three, money. He is just not missing right now. Andre Aerosol is feeling it. He has 17, and it's a timeout for Barking Abbey.
Andre Aerosol really in the zone right now as he does the grenade celebration.
3 3-pointers for Andre Aerosol already. He has got 3 of 4 from beyond the arc.
We said it, you know, we said it earlier. He's a terrific ball screen player. Anytime that, you know, he's great at using pin downs, he's great at using, you know, picking in a pick and roll situation. Barking just haven't been able to adjust, haven't been able to, you know, contain him, and he always finds himself open. I think Coach Ricky Brodema, we really have to, you know, whatever game plan he has coming into this game, it doesn't seem to be working. He'll be there, you know, consulting with his coaches at halftime, figuring out how they're going to stop Aerosol. Because right now he's outscoring them by himself. Yeah. He's got 20 points to Barkin's 18. Barkin, I think, have scored 4 points or 5 points this quarter.
Now, I mentioned he had 17. As you mentioned, Chuck, he's now gone to 20. Outscoring Barking so far with 3:48 remaining in the half. And even though they're behind, the Barking Abbey fans still enjoying themselves.
This game is by no means over,
no.
But it's very reminiscent of the first matchup these two had in the league, where Solent ended up winning by about 32. It was around this time of the game where they pulled away, they started to have a big lead. Barking looked defeated mentally that game. It's looking very reminiscent of that game. Hopefully, today's a big occasion. They can, show some resilience, and Coach Ricky will tell his team that, it's not over. 18 points is nothing.
Yeah.
It's nothing. 3 minutes left. We get it under 10. We can go in the second half.
Well, these two teams have met 3 times previously in all competitions. Barking Abbey actually have a 2-1 advantage. They won in the Kit King Trophy group stages earlier on in the season. Here is Wilkinson. And a 3 from Abaya is no good. Barking Abbey right now really struggling from downtown, 0 of 9 in the first half. Here is Gerapi. Durand. 3:20 remaining in the half. Katenge picks it up. And it's out of bounds. It will stay with the Kestrels. And a timeout has been called this time by Matt Guyman. And Solent have a comfortable 18-point lead right now, 36-18. And if you're Ricky Broadmoor, it's just a case of, just taking it possession by possession, but got to execute right now. Yeah, they're having a tough time scoring the basketball. And as good as Barking have been this year, they haven't been the best offensive team. Looking in the league, they probably rank somewhere in the middle, towards the end of the middle of the league in terms of scoring. Their defense is what's won them games this season. We said at the start, Solent, high-scoring team, average 90 points a game. And I said, if this is a high-scoring game, this suits Solent. So if I'm Barking right now, it's not over by any means. But, Coach Ricky will need to get their defense going, because right now it's letting them down. But on the flip side, Solent are almost playing Barking Abbey at their own game defensively. Barking Abbey have only scored 7 field goals in this entire first half so far, and you compare that with 13 for Solent. It's a big change at present. And you mentioned, Barking's 3-point and field goal percentage is quite low. 42% from the field this season. As mentioned earlier, 79 points a game. 2 areas that Solent lead the league in. They lead the North and the South. 92 points a game, 49% from the field. And in their previous 2 games in the playoffs, they've shot over 50% from the floor. And right now have an 18-point lead. And here is Durand. Brandon, no hesitation, but misses the 3. And a whistle has gone. And they're looking at Wayne Katenge. And they are going to call it on Wayne Katenge, so that'll be his second foul. And Solent in the penalty, so Barking Abbey will head to the stripe for the final 3 minutes and 11 seconds.
Yeah, not a great foul for Team Solent. Both big men now on 2 fouls. Coach Gowron will have a tough decision to make here. He looks to get Ashley Biggs back in.
And Lukasevicius misses the first free throw, and he had a fantastic game, Lukasevicius, in the EABL final. 4 triples, 16 points against Myerscough. Had 11 points in the semi-final win against Newham All-Stars. And another player who loves to shoot the 3, a really confident 3-point shooter as he splits the free throws. And Katenge will come out. Ashley Briggs checks back in. Gerapi. Aerosol, final 3 minutes of the second. Aerosol looking to dance, but loses the ball. And the Kestrels will keep it, but 5 on the shot clock.
Again, Aerosol using that ball screen. He's identified that they're not good at guarding him off that screen, so you know, Coach Guyman's going to look to him to continue to go downhill, use that screen, and create from that.
Here is Briggs, nearly lost it. In fact, it went out of bounds. Good defense there from Elias Taiwo.
You can see Elias Taiwo trying to get his team going. He's the leader of this team, so they're going to rely on his, you know, his veteran leadership.
Such a vocal player, isn't he?
Yeah.
Is Taiwo. 3 to shoot. Brandon off the back iron, and Taiwo with the rebound. Here is Wilkinson. Wilkinson, full head of speed, doesn't get it. On the follow was Taiwo.
Yeah, great offensive rebound there by Elias Taiwo.
Aerosol. Briggs. Briggs from the elbow, and that's in and out. And it's rebounded by Wilkinson. Sales. And Wilkinson will slow it. Wilkinson dancing. A shot off the back iron. It's rebounded by Brandon.
Solent have done a really good job of limiting Barking to one-shot offenses. You know, they've boxed out well. They've got the rebounds.
Garapi is short with the 2, and Solent will get it back. Aerosol. Garapi wide open, a 3.
Yeah, just as I said that, Solent get an offensive rebound and then get another chance for another possession.
1:40 remaining in the half. Wilkinson, Taiwo. And Aberia just about collects. 5 to shoot. Taiwo drives. Lukasevicius a 3. No, it's rebounded by Garapi. Durand. And Durand will slow it. Aerosol putting the moves on Taiwo. Finds Brandon. Brandon to the basket, deflected by Obiara, and it's rebounded by Lukasevicius. And Wilkinson is fouled by Garapi. But again, good defense from Lewis. Obiara knew exactly what was going on and just got enough on it without having to foul.
Yeah, he's been that anchor all year, and today he's definitely showed up today. So,
and that's 3 blocks now for Lewis Obiara, and he's perfect from the field. 3 of 3. As Amari Wilkinson heading to the line and makes the first. And we talk about family affairs, and we mentioned it, Savannah Wilkinson, GB International, watching his brother playing today, and what an incredible player, isn't he, Amali Wilkinson? Just so aggressive, and also can really fill the stat sheet up as well.
Yeah, he's the guy, you know, that does it at both ends of the floor. You know, an underrated post defender, can guard players bigger than him. A great perimeter defender. I think for the next level, I think he needs to improve his three-point shooting, but I think that's going to come.
Brandon going inside. Obiara again with the rejection, and it will be a Barking Abbey ball. As Titus Warari comes back into the game, and Wilkinson will take a seat. Obviously, Broadmoor didn't like what we were saying about him.
Sorry, Amari.
Yeah. And Titus Warari will come back in. Actually had 16 points in that Kit King group game against Solent we were talking about earlier on. Shot 55% from the floor, 40.2 seconds remaining in the half. Here is Sales looking for Warari, who gets it. Inside, beautiful pass, but the finish is wanting from Akufu.
Not sure about that decision. In this point in the game, to go for a highlight play, maybe that's his age showing.
Every possession counts, but wait until later on for the flashy stuff, I guess. Aerosol goes inside, doesn't get the full, breaks the offensive board. Garapi, final seconds of the half. Garapi off the back iron with his 3, and that would have counted, but good defense from Elias Taiwo, and that ends the first half, and Solent Kestrels firmly in the ascendancy, leading 39-22. Andre Aerosol with 20 points right now. He has had an absolute ball.
Yeah, great first half from Solent. You know, the high scoring game suits them. I think Barking, you know, like I said all season, they haven't been the best offensive team. You know, they've relied on their defense. I think their defense it's not been bad today, but it's not been where it used to be. Credit to Solent. I think Solent have done a good job of creating high percentage looks for themselves. So yeah, I think Coach Ricky's got a lot to think about at half-time for the next second half.
Well, I'll let you get on and have a chat with Verity about the half-time action as we are halfway through the Division 2 final, our final game of day one, and a lot for Barking Abbey to think about as they head toward the locker room at the half. Solent Kestrel shooting 35% from the floor, 45% from downtown, and they have a commanding 39-22 lead over Barking Abbey, who are currently led by Amali Wilkinson and Lewis Obiara, who both have 7 points. For Ricky Broadmoor's team, as the coaching team for Barking Abbey remaining on the floor at this time, just having a quick chat before they head to the locker room. But lots for Verity and Chuck to think about as we enter half-time, and Solent have a commanding lead. And it's all thanks to Andre Aerosol. Verity, it's all yours.
So, what have you made of this first half?
Yeah, it's been a really good half for Team Solent. I think they've definitely dictated the tempo of the game. You know, both teams have been very physical. The refs have been, you know, have let this game be very physical, and I think it's suited Solent's style. You know, Barking, they're a team that relies on their defense. I think their defense is letting them down a little bit. They've allowed Solent to get, I think, one too many second chance points, while Solent have for the most part kept them to, you know, one-shot offenses.
And let's talk about Andre Aerosol for Solent specifically, because he's got 20 points. How key is that he keeps on doing that for the rest of this game? Because he's been great, hasn't he?
Yeah, Andre's had a great start. You know, guys who are familiar with his game, you know, he's a very good player. He's a very smart player, very good at going downhill. You know, one of the best ball screen players in this league. Has done it over many, many years at Division 1, Division 2. The problem is with Solent is, you know, if Andre doesn't score another point for the rest of the game, they've got guys who can score. You know, they're a team that one player never beats you. You know, they beat you as a team. You know, so yes, he probably won't finish in 20 points today, but that's the danger of playing against Solent, is everybody who comes in the game can do a job.
Who do you want to see a bit more from in the second half for both teams in terms of scoring?
You know, Ashley Briggs for Solent's been quiet. He's scoreless, I believe. You know, he's someone who I remember last year against MK. I think he had about 25 points. Was very dominant. He's been very dominant this year. He's been quiet, obviously, because of foul trouble. But Wayne Kitenge, he's done a really good job in his absence. For Barking, I think, you know, three-point shooting is letting them down. They're 0 for 10. You know, Conway's their leading scorer this year. I'm looking for him to, you know, get going in the second half. Amari Wilkinson, under 19 player of the year. You know, there's a lot of expectation for him. I think Lewis Obiara has done a great job, you know, keeping them somewhat in the game. So I expect him to continue what he's doing.
Yeah, what do Barking need to focus on if they're going to pull themselves back and, you know, be within touching distance of the Kestrels?
I think they need to go back to what, you know, got them here, which is their defense. I think they need to tighten up defensively, you know, limit Solent to one-shot offenses like Solent have been doing to them. It's almost like Solent has been beating them at their own game.
Yeah.
I think offensively, obviously, it's difficult because, you know, in a game like this, you know, nobody misses shots on purpose, but they need to continue to create high-quality looks and trust that they'll drop in the second half.
And what do Kestrels need to do to maintain the massive gap that they've got at the moment?
I think just much of the same. They've had a great first half. The ball's moving. Everybody's getting touches. Obviously, Andre's been the focal point of the offense. But, you know, if they continue as they are, to continue to control the pace and the tempo of the game, they'll run out this game comfortably.
And we've still got a bit more time before the third quarter gets underway. So here's some more highlights before we hand back over to commentary.
Some love and respect for the jump shot for Rachel and everybody as well.
Welcome back to Bellevue, the National Basketball Performance Centre, for our final game of day one in the 2025 Basketball England playoff finals weekend. And Solent Kestrels have a 39-22 lead over Barking Abbey. John Hobbs, Chuck Daru alongside to keep you company for the final two quarters in what has been a rather one-sided first half. But, you know, don't count Barking out as we look at the stats for the first half. Don't count Barking Abbey out. They're a tough, dedicated team, tenacious at both ends of the floor.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. They're tenacious. They're a team that has will. I think today, three-point shooting is letting them down. They're 0 for 10 from the three-point line. You know, I'm an advocate that three-point shooting in this modern age of basketball wins you championships. And, you know, it's letting them down today. You know, Conway, I think they're leading scorer this year. You know, we're going to look for more from him this second half. I think Luis Obiara's done a great job of keeping them in this game somewhat. But, you know, the story of the first half has been Andre Arisol. He's been terrific, 20 points, you know, leading his team. And, yeah, I think Barking have a big uphill battle going into this second half.
And you talk about the modern day three-pointers win you championships. We'll go back to the old school way of defense wins championships. And right now, if you take Andre Arisol out of the equation, defensively, Solent have been absolutely tenacious, haven't they? They've been very strong, very composed, very patient. Of course, Luis Obiara's got a few blocks, granted, but Solent right now are getting it done on the defensive end. Yeah, they have, and, you know, credit to Matt Guyman, you know, his philosophy of, you know, packing the paint in and making it difficult for teams to get layups. You know, when you play against the Solent team, you often find when you get to the rim, or when you get to the paint, it's 1 against 2, it's 1 against 2. That's a testament to great team defense. As we get ready to start the third period, Solent leading comfortably. Their biggest lead of the game has been 18 points. And lots for this young Barking Abbey side to do, but they're a fearless, warrior-like side. They fear no one, and they will fear no challenge as they come in to start the third quarter. And the starting five for Barking Abbey actually coming on to start the third period as well, as are the starting five for Solent as well.
These opening 3 minutes will be very, very important for Barking. They either have a, you know, start a run to make a comeback at this game, or this game might be blown out of their reach.
Barking Abbey need quick scores. Obiara, good footwork, looking inside, can't find Taiwo, and here is Arisol. 10 turnovers now for Barking Abbey. Briggs finds Gerapi, creates some space. Can't get that three to go, and it's rebounded by Conway. Conway now straight down the middle. Three-pointer, corner pocket is good for Lukashevicius.
Yeah, much needed three-pointer. That's their first made three of the game, so they'll need to get their shooters going. Him and Conway are a very big part of their perimeter play, so encouraging signs for Coach Ricky Broadmoor.
Case of 11th time lucky for Barking Abbey. Briggs going inside over Obiara.
Yeah, Ashley Briggs, one of the best big men in the league. You know, he's had a quiet first half, so it's good to see him get on the scoreboard.
First field goal, as you said, for Ashley Briggs. Shot clock in single figures for Barking Abbey. Lukashevicius again goes for three, misses that one. Here comes Brandon for Solent. Arisol bumps Conway and scores. Taiwo. 18-point lead for Solent, matching their biggest lead of the game. Nearly another turnover, but Taiwo picks it up. Now it's a turnover as Gerapi comes up with it. Brandon just about hangs on. Brandon, a pull-up jumper is money. A 20-point lead for the Kestrels.
Yeah, I said it the opening 3 minutes are going to be really important. It's not looking good for Barking right now. Solent seem to be, maintaining that intensity from the first half. That Barking need to find some answers. They need to find some answers quick.
An early 6-3 start for Solent in this third quarter as Nyamwu comes into the game for Barking Abbey and Obiara comes to the bench. And Broadmoor just having a quick chat with the 7-footer as Wilkinson heads to the stripe. Product of the Newham Youngbloods, Amali Wilkinson. 21.6 boards, 7 assists in the semi-final win over Newham. Followed that with 16 and 9 against Leicester. Misses the second, but Barking have another bite of the cherry. And Nyamwu, turnaround jumper off to the right. And that'll be a Kestrels ball. It came off Wilkinson last. Aerosol, the only player in double figures for the Kestrels, and another foul, this time on Taiwan.
Yeah, another careless one there. I think he just plays a little bit too aggressive there. It's one of those situations where, as a player, you want to be aggressive, you want to, keep the ball in the corner, but you've got to recognise there, like, if the guy catches the ball there, he's limited threat. Now your job is just to keep him there, rather than trying to get a bit too excited and trying to, overexert yourself there.
Great to have everyone on board on the Basketball England YouTube channel. A lot of love for Raphael Connolly. Of course, he's a former Sussex Storm product on the Barking bench as Issa Brandon misses the 2. Wilkinson comes up with it. Conway, a 3. No. And Barking struggles from downtown continue. Gerapi. Only had 6 points so far, Russell Gerapi. Goes to the foul line, Briggs inside. And a technical foul has been called. I think that's on Ashley Briggs. As we see, it's a good pass from Gerapi. And then Ashley Briggs inside, and that's the technical.
Yeah, Briggs was unfortunate there. It looked like he got hit in the face on that layup. Probably should have gone and one there, but the referees are very, very tight when it comes to delaying the game and taking the ball out of the rim. Coach Guyman won't be happy with that. I think he's just there letting Ashley know. Yeah,
he's taking him out. Wayne Katenge coming back in. As Ethan Conway heads to the goes to the line and makes the extra. Of course, we talk about Division 1 players who are all around us today, and another one, Jonas Dietrich of the Derby Trailblazers, is also here and watched on behind the basket. Here is Wilkinson. Wilkinson drives at Aerosol, loses the ball, keeps it. 7 to shoot for Barking Abbey. Lukashevicus, a 3. That's a big shot.
Yeah, big shot there. Solent did a good job of, taking the offense down to late in the clock, but a prayer was answered there. But a good shot by.
Here is Katenge, Gerapi. Round the back pass to Duran. Duran along the baseline. Issa Brandon will drive to the hoop. And it came off Barking Abbey, who'll get the ball. Amari Wilkinson to the basket.
Good take there by Amari Wilkinson.
And there's a late whistle, I think, of 3. No, another technical foul has been called.
Yeah, I think that's on Issa Brandon.
And it is on Issa Brandon. That's his second foul. So this is a positive spell for Barking Abbey. They've narrowed the gap only slightly, but every little helps right now, and they get another freebie as Ethan Conway, who, as we mentioned, has struggled in the playoffs, a combined 3 of 18 in the postseason, makes the free throw. He now moves on to, he's on 2 points now. But slowly but surely, Barking Abbey creeping their way in. Durand putting the moves on the buyer. Here is Aerosol. Aerosol fading away and gets it to go.
Tough shot there by Aerosol.
A huge shot from Andre Aerosol, off balance. That's just nasty. You can't defend that.
No, and it's one of those shots where like, it kind of kills the momentum of Barking. You know, Barking were edging back, but then, you know, Andre goes and hits a tough shot like that, and it's almost heartbreaking.
And that really kills any momentum that Barking Abbey, well, they'll look to gain their momentum still, but it's an absolute sucker punch when you're trailing in this game and you're building that little bit of momentum, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Here is Wilkinson. Wilkinson sees some daylight. Mabaya putting the moves on Brandon, going inside. Offensive foul has been called.
Offensive foul against number 10, Mabaya.
That's on Mabaya, and that'll be his second foul.
Oh yeah, just hooks him there with that right elbow. Good spot by the ref.
Steve Stredwick in good position for the call. Lovely pass inside. Wayne Katenge misses the first. Inside a sea of Barking Abbey players, he still had it, and Solent will keep it.
Yeah, good job by Barking there just to swarm him and not allow him to make that layup, as you see here. He gets the offensive rebound, but you see four Barking shirts just around him and just make it difficult.
It was good defense originally from Lukasevicius. Here is Aerosol. Aerosol, beautiful turnaround. Gets blocked though by Nyanwu, and Barking Abbey get another stop. Here is Wilkinson, Conway. And Nyanwu, beautiful hook and the finish off the glass.
Good take there by Nyanwu. Barking just won't die.
They haven't led at all in this game, but they trail now by 14. Brandon under the hoop. Brandon doesn't get it, and on the follow was Katenge. And Lukasevicius is getting up a bit gingerly there, but he's continuing on. Here is Wilkinson. Wilkinson deflected out of bounds by Aerosol. As Joe Lloyd will check back in for the Kestrels. Such a fantastic program, Itchen College. Of course, Joe Lloyd, one of those college products, led the college in points per game this season at EABL, 14 points a contest. And that goes out of bounds, and there will be another turnover, and the Kestrels will take it back.
Yeah, great introduction back into the game for Joe Lloyd, young lefty, sharp shooter, but does his good job on the defensive end there to force a turnover.
Solent wanted to get on with it quickly, but referees pulled a halt, and a timeout has actually been called by Broadmoor, Coach Broadmoor of Barking Abbey. And it's been a positive spell, this has, for Barking Abbey. They've trailed by as many as 21. They got it down to as little as 13. But Solent still in the ascendancy. 4:38 to go and another quarter. A lot of basketball to be played, and there is that possibility of a really grandstand finish.
Yeah, they're doing a good job of they're doing a better job offensively of creating easier buckets for themselves. I think they're just struggling to get a run going. I think Coach Guyman, you can kind of look at him, he's always, should I call a timeout, should I not? But he's letting his players go because he doesn't believe in it just yet. For Solent, they look a bit like they've taken a foot off the gas a little bit. Maybe the increased intensity and physicality from Barking has startled them a little bit, but it's still a 16-point game, so they won't be too bothered. They won't be too concerned at this point.
And while we got a break in play in Division 2 South, of course, Andre Aerosol, Marley Wilkinson, Issa Brandon, all part of the Team of the Year, Aerosol, Brandon and Wilkinson, along with Ethan Conway, getting their names in the British Team of the Year. It was been a really great season for these two teams. Of course, Barking Abbey, their first year in Division 2, having been relegated from NBL1 the season before. And it's been a really competitive Southern Division, hasn't it? Of course, with you guys at Barnet Bulldogs narrowly missing out on the playoffs, but having a great first season, having been in Division 3 the year before.
Yeah, you know, it was very, very competitive. You know, my last stint in Division 2 was about 4 or 5 years ago, and it was a completely, the league this year was way more stronger. You know, we had in my opinion, three elite teams in London Stars, Barking and Solent, who I don't think we were that far off. But, you know, a testament to the league. We had GB internationals in the league this year. We had a lot of really good imports in the league. So, yeah, it's definitely a league that's going from strength to strength. And yeah, credit to both these teams for making it to the final.
And let's not take anything away from what's been going on in the north as well. Leicester Warriors and Bristol Academy Flyers fighting tooth and nail. St Helens Saints were there as well, but all of them falling short in the quarterfinals. But it was a very competitive North Division where the top three of Saints, Warriors and the Flyers could have won that.
Yeah, no, obviously credit to the North. You know, it's a very competitive league, but you know, this is not just me being biased, but you know, I think the South was considerably stronger, and you know, the playoffs were reflective of that, with the South teams going 4 out of 4.
No beef there, of course, being a player from Division 2 South, eh? And a coach as well. Here is Babaya and Yanwu. 10 to shoot for Barking Abbey. Sails under the basket, and Yanwu still has it. Shot clock at 4, and Joe Lloyd gets the rebound.
Solent just doing a really good job swarming the paint.
Gerapi, Brandon, a 3 is long, and Aerosol has it. And Brandon was looking for Katenge, but it goes out of bounds instead. Great to have everyone on board on the Basketball England YouTube channel. Of course, tomorrow afternoon, Cola Southwark Pride against Endeavour Ipswich Basketball. And then it's the Reading Rockets taking on the Milton Keynes Breakers. It's going to be a busy few weeks for the Breakers. Of course, the women playing. A couple of junior teams playing in next week's Junior Final Fours weekend. As well as the men. 5 to shoot for Katenge. Looks for Brandon. Ball batted around like a hot potato, and Conway has it. Mabaya. And good tracking back from Gerapi, as Obiara was certain to dunk that home.
Yeah, good defense from Gerapi. Barking just a bit second guessing themselves there in transition. Probably should have just gone up for a layup. Probably could have got an and one, but they opted for, in my opinion, the more difficult route.
Wilkinson. Conway drives at Katenge and scores.
Yeah, good take there by Conway. They need him to get going, you know, he's been their front man this year. From the scoring front, they need him to get going in this game if they're going to have a chance of getting back.
First field goal in 7 attempts for Ethan Conway, who was previously 0 of 6. Here is Aerosol, 6 to shoot for Andre Aerosol. Puts it up, and that's off the back iron. And Gerapi is first to it. The floater is short, late whistle, but he'll go to the stripe, and that'll be on Laquan Sales. That'll be his second foul.
Yeah, smart play there by Gerapi. He senses his defenders just a little bit too close and sort of throws up a floater with the aim of getting some contact, and yeah, job done. He'll be at the line for 2 now.
An alumni at Penn State Dubois. Russell Gerapi just finished his Masters at Bournemouth University, actually, where he was studying, and has got himself a nice full-time job. Unsure of what that full-time job is, but any Solent fans, if they want to leave a comment, they're more than welcome to. He misses the first, though. As Gerapi, a 73% foul shooter for the season, splits the free throws. Here is Wilkinson. Conway. Hounded by Gerapi. Sails wide open. Good tracking back by Farwell Malloy. 5 to shoot. Conway drives. Lovely up and under. Unlucky not to get it. And Brandon with the rebound. And now Brandon's going to push. 2:20 remaining in the third. Gerapi, Brandon, driving, dancing, scoring.
Tough take there by Easton Brandon. He's just hunting that closeout. Hunting one bad closeout. He gets it and then good take to at the basket.
11 for Brandon. Ball again is being battered around. It goes out of bounds. It will stay with Barking Abbey with 2:02 remaining in the third as Taiwo will check in and Kirby Mabaya will head to the bench. There's been positive spells here though for Barking Abbey. They've actually outscored Solent in this third quarter, albeit by just 2 points. Here is Durand. Durand finds Katenge inside under a sea of white jerseys again. How many times have we said that in this game? As he will actually now head to the bench and Ashley Briggs will check in.
Yeah, such a physical game today. The refs have really letting them play. I mean, you're looking at the foul count. There's no one really in foul trouble besides maybe Briggs on 3.
Durand backing down Taiwo. 6 to shoot. Durand, Briggs, Aerosol, a 3. Money.
Great ball movement there.
It's a Dre day in Manchester right now, and he has 27. And the lead now balloons back to 20 points. It seems for all of Barking Abbey's good spells, Solent have an answer. Taiwo to the rack.
Yeah, good take there by Elias Taiwo. Much needed bucket. Barking just not able to, crack past that 15-point mark. They'll want to get this below 10, ideally, going into the fourth.
Briggs, the hook off the back iron, and Taiwo now comes up with it. Full head of speed for Wilkinson. Fantastic composure in mid-air, changes himself mid-flight and gets the finish. Wilkinson on to 12. Here is Gerapi, loses the ball and Briggs is there to help him out. Aerosol, 6 to shoot for Andre Aerosol, bundled to the floor by Wilkinson. That's just veteran know-how, isn't it, from Andre Aerosol?
Yeah, he just does a good job again with that ball screen. It's been a common theme. It's just putting his defender in jail in Amari Wilkinson and put him in a position where he's got to foul him. He's got no choice but to foul him. He's behind the play, and just a little bit too aggressive. So we see on the replay, like, he has him on his hip. The only outcome there is either it's going to be a foul.
So Barking Abbey at the limit really for fouls. One more and Solent will head to the stripe as Briggs checks out. Katenge comes back. One thing about Aerosol is really favouring his knee at the moment. He's been stretching it quite a lot over the last minute and a half. He's certainly put in a shift right now. A mismatch with Obiara gets him jumping for joy. Can't get it to go though. And a Wilkinson with the rebound. And now Wilkinson, full head of speed, head down, kicks it out. Sails, a 3 is good.
Yeah, much needed 3 there. Great penetration and kick and good recognition by Amari Wilkinson. And
final 10 seconds of the third period. Solent lead now by 13. A nice 7-0 finish right now to the third quarter for Barking Abbey. As Aerosol, that 3 will count and a foul. No, it's an offensive foul. The 3 will count.
Yeah.
Matt Guyman cannot believe it. So the 7-0 run is broken, but Barking, well, they have 0.3 of a second to chuck a Hail Mary up.
Yeah, again, common theme, Andre Aerosol ball screen. You know, he loses his defender. In my opinion, a tough call there for an offensive foul, but, you know, the referees have seen something that maybe I haven't seen. But yeah, again, we've said it all game. Andre Aerosol ball screen. Barking still haven't figured a way to neutralize him. They've tried there going over. You know, Sales is lucky not to get broken there, but...
Also risky for Sales going under the screen as well.
Yeah. He just does a good job of just making the right decision. You know, if the defender goes over, he's able to, you know, put him in jail, as they say, and keep him on his hip. If he goes under, he's capable of hitting a shot off the dribble.
And 0.3 of a second left, and that amazingly goes through the roof tiles, but smacks the top of the backboard. Well, actually smacks the shot clock, and that ends the third quarter. And it was a good end for Barking Abbey, a 7-0 run to cut it to as little as 13, but that Aerosol 3 certainly takes the sting out of it, and the Kestrels lead by 16 to enter the fourth.
Yeah, I mean, in some sense, if you're Barking, you're maybe a little bit encouraged that it seems to be just one player that's killing you. But the other side to that is, you know, Barking are struggling to score. I think in any other day, you know, 44 points in 3 quarters. Yes, we said that they don't score a lot of points, but they'll look at this game and think, you know, Solent was daring us to shoot from outside and we weren't knocking them down. You know, how many missed buckets at the rim? How many points have been left in the rim? So, you know, going into this fourth quarter, Barking definitely, I wouldn't say they're out of this game, but they definitely have an uphill task.
Andre Aerosol, 10 of 18 from the floor, 5 of 8 from downtown. He has 30 points. You can chuck in 3 assists, 4 steals, 3 rebounds for good measure. And Amali Wilkinson providing relief for Barking Abbey, 12 points. And you know, we say that Barking Abbey have really struggled to put the ball in the basket and have anyone step up, but it's been a well-balanced scoring effort for Barking Abbey thus far. Lukasevicius and Obaria have 7 points each, but really this game has been about one man exclusively, and that's the veteran Andre Aerosol.
Yeah, he's been terrific. He's really been terrific. You know, aside from the scoring, he's also done a good job of getting his teammates involved. On the defensive end, he's always reliable. You know, this is a guy who's at the Division 1 level was a terrific player, won everything there is to win with Solent. You know, before that, a terrific college player playing in NCAA Division 2. You know, he's a guy with a massive pedigree. For Barking, I think the key for them to get back in this game is they need to limit his impact. That's not just on the scoring end, but also with limiting his impact of creating off the pick and roll and creating off ball screens.
Was part of that dominant Solent team back in the pre-COVID to just over the COVID, post-COVID times, before heading to the Worthing Thunder, where he averaged around 15 points a game. Of course, coming up short in the 2 finals there with the Thunder to the all-conquering Hemel Storm. That was their 41-0 season back then. Of course, Hemel, for the first time in 3 years, will not take part in the Division 1 final tomorrow, losing out to the MK Breakers. And we start the fourth period here in Manchester, the final 10 minutes of day 1. Briggs. Bodies all over the place. Wilkinson has it, and Wilkinson goes to ground, as does Lloyd, and that was a very awkward fall. And Wilkinson smacked by Joe Lloyd inadvertently, it must be said, and Wilkinson goes straight back up on his feet.
Yeah, you see Joe Lloyd just trips over the ball and lands on Wilkinson. Wilkinson looks all right, a bit shaken up, but he looks fine.
Wilkinson tougher than a 2-pound steak, getting back up. As we just have a break in play as the moisture technician is utilised for the first time. Early doors here in the fourth period. Wilkinson. Wilkinson finds Sales. Here is Taiwo. And Yanwu at the foul line.
Good jump shot there by Nyamu.
And good defense from Wilkinson. And Solent have got to be quick. And an 8-second violation. Great defense from Amali Wilkinson, putting pressure on Aerosol.
Yeah, really good defense. They're going to need plays like that to get back in this game. A chance here to cut it to 11 if they can get a 3 here.
Remember, the biggest lead of the game for Solent has been 21 points. That was in the midway stage of the third period. And a backcourt violation.
Yeah.
A bit of a confusion there between Sales and Wilkinson.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's only allowed in the States. In the NBA, they allow you to do that, but not under FIBA rules.
And in the final 2 minutes of the games as well. Here is Aerosol. Garapi. Brandon driving at Conway. Turnaround floater, gets that friendly roll.
Yeah, good take there by Issa Brandon.
He has 13 on 6 of 15 shooting. Wilkinson to the basket and a foul.
Wilkinson really putting the team on his back now, trying to wheel them back into this game. One way to do it is a three-point play the old-fashioned way.
Bit of a de-acceleration on the spin. Almost was out of control, nearly got called for a travel there, but got the ball up just in time. And as you said, that de-acceleration almost shades of Aaron Rye of the London Lions, who made the de-acceleration play famous.
Yes, he did.
There's Amali Wilkinson now, misses the free throw. 9 of 17 from the stripe here this evening for Barking Abbey. A 62% free throw shooting team for the season. Garapi at the top. Aerosol, Durand. Garapi wide open. Can't get it to fall. Issa Brandon comes up with it. And Solent reset. Issa Brandon now a double-double for him. 13 points, 10 boards. Durant to the basket.
Good take there by Durant. It's been quite quiet this game, but, you know, always there when his team needs him to do.
Taiwo. Onyanwu. Conway. Wilkinson, 9 to shoot. Wilkinson short with the 3. Wilkinson 6 of 14 from the field. Garapi. And now the shot clock in single figures for Brandon, off balance. And a whistle has gone. Brandon hits the deck. And Obiara will come in for Barking Abbey on way. And Yanwu will head to the bench. Obiara so far 7 points, 3 rebounds, 4 blocks. 3 of those blocks coming in the first period. As Issa Brandon heads to the stripe. Brandon averaging 17 points a game this season in just 26 minutes for the Kestrels. 54% from the field. He's a 73% foul shooter for the season. Man with a lot of British basketball experience, most notably in the old BBL with the Plymouth City Patriots and the Glasgow Rocks. And gets the steal as well. It goes out of bounds though, and Barking Abbey will keep it.
Yeah, Issa Brandon, a really good player. Really good, you know, utility player that can, you know, score, 3-level scorer. It's been terrific for them this season. Really plays well with the ball, without the ball. As you said, you know, BBL, SLB experience, and a great asset for this Solent team.
Lukasevicius back into the game and on the ball for Barking Abbey. Wilkinson. Taiwo. Lukasevicius again. Sails along the baseline. Gets bumped by Katenge. Katenge with the rebound. Rebound number 9 for Wayne Katenge to go with 6 points. Garapi steps into a 3, splash. Timeout with Ricky Broadmoor. And right now, Solent in a groove, in rhythm, and Barking Abbey looking to stem the bleeding with the timeout.
Yeah, everything's just going their way there. You saw there Coach Guyman on the sideline. He was screaming for an ISO. You know, he saw that mismatch with Garepi on poor US Obiara and said, hey, that's what we want. Clear out. You know, Garepi rises up and he shoots the ball and knocks down the three.
Solent with 8 3-pointers from 19 attempts. And right now, their 20-point lead has been restored. And it's like you said earlier, Barking wanting to get it to at least 10 points. They can't get any closer than 13 right now. And each time they go to 13 points down, Solent comes straight back.
Yeah, I think that poor start at the beginning, you know, is coming back to haunt them. You know, they've played a lot better in the second half. It's just they've just been unable to get a long enough run to really bring them back in the game. But that's a credit to Solent. You know, they're a team that's been here before. They're a team that, you know, everybody buys in, everybody believes in what they're doing, and everybody's on the same page. These are the hardest teams to play when it comes to at this level. So again, 20 points, 7 minutes. It's been done before. But like I said, it's an uphill task, a very, very high mountain to climb for Barking. But again, never say never.
As you say, 7 minutes is a long time in basketball. And Barking Abbey have the talent. They have the pedigree to do it. Can they muster a comeback to end all comebacks? Not like that they won't, because Aerosol gets the turnover and Garepi loses it and Barking Abbey will get it back.
Yeah, Barking getting away with one there. That was very, very sloppy play there.
27 turnovers in total in this contest. Here is Wilkinson. Wilkinson to Taiwo. Obiara can't hang on, and that'll be a Barking Abbey ball. That came off the knee of Garepi.
It just looks like Barking, they're kind of getting in each other's way in that they're trying to go into like a high-low with Obiara and Taiwo, but they're just kind of getting in each other's way. They're not reading, they're not clocking, they're not reading what each other's doing, reading each other's movements. So what it ends up being is one player in Wayne Katinge being able to defend two.
Wilkinson, shot clock at 8. Sales back to Wilkinson, shot clock at 3. Wilkinson has to dance here. Lukasevicius, do they even know? They don't, it's a shot clock violation. Court awareness lacking a little bit there from Barking Abbey, as Ethan Conway will come in and Laquan Sales will head to the bench.
Yeah, good decision by Coach Ricky Broadmoor. They definitely need another three-point shooter to space out this zone defense by Solent that seems to be really startling them.
Aerosol, Katinge, Garepi. Everyone getting a touch. Aerosol at the foul line, Money.
He's just been unstoppable today. 32 points, 6 minutes to go.
Wilkinson, Conway, pulls up for 2. Doesn't get it to fall. Brandon, another rebound. Here comes Solent on the attack. And Brandon, that'll be a goaltend. Obiara and I believe Taiwo smacked to the backboard, so that will count. I know you want to get the highlight play, but smacking the backboard will not do it.
Yeah, it's one of those plays where the intent is good, but you know, in a game like this, you've got to be a bit smarter.
Wilkinson off balance, that's short. Aerosol rebounds straight away to Duran. Duran, the easy finish. And another timeout has been called by Barking Abbey, and you can sense that Solent are on the verge.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, you know. Yeah, credit to Solent, they're punishing Barking for all their rush shots, their early shots, their misses. They're punishing them now on the open floor. I think you've just seen a run of 6 fast break points.
Solent shooting, they're only shooting around 43% from the field, which is decent in a sense, but when they've been averaging around 50% from the floor in the playoffs and 49% from the floor this season, it's hard to believe that they're actually shooting way below average.
Yeah, you know, they're shooting way below average and they've got 74 points.
Yeah.
A lot of that attributed obviously to Andre Aerosol, who has 32, an efficient 32 as well, 57% from the field, 62% from three. You know, single-handedly carrying Solent's three-point percentage today.
And a decent index rating as well, a plus 31. Miles ahead of the next person down, which is Issa Brandon, who has 18. He has a really efficient double-double as well, Issa Brandon, 16 points and 13 rebounds, 3 of those offensive.
Yeah, he's been phenomenal as well. You know, an unsung hero in this Solent team. Very deserved of his Team of the Year pick.
A gentleman's double-double for Issa Brandon here today. And Taiwo loses the ball, but a foul is called before Solent can break. And you can sense now that Solent just playing a little bit loose at the moment. It's almost like they're about to enjoy the next 5 minutes.
Yeah, you can sense that they're firmly in the driver's seat. Barking, I think mentally, they look a bit like they're checking out the game a bit. You know, I think Coach Ricky has had a tough game to officiate. You know, the late start never helps. But, you know, today's been Solent from start to finish.
Of course, we've had a late running first day. Division 3 and WNBL Division 2 finals overrunning. Here is Obiara. Taiwo, shot clock down to 10. Obiara inside, and he'll go to the foul line. And a player at 40% from the stripe, that's not a bad foul.
No, it's definitely not a bad foul. Surprised Luis Obiara hasn't played more. You know, he's given Solent some problems in the interior. Maybe Coach Ricky Broadmoor not trusting him as much in this big game, but
this is the first. That's 4 fouls as well on Wayne Katenge. But Obiara, who averages 2 blocks and 8 rebounds in these playoffs this season. No doubt the rim protector for Barking Abbey and one of the leading rim protectors in British basketball, it must be said, at such a young age, as he misses them both.
No, he's definitely a young player with a bright future ahead of him. I'm talking to Coach Ricky Broadmoor before the game. You know, he's got a lot of options for his next venture in his basketball career. Definitely looking forward to seeing how he progresses.
Katenge the flush. Great pass from Aerosol. And gets the deflection as Titus Warori couldn't get the shot to fall. Garapi. Aerosol. And the ball deflected. Taiwo comes up with it. And Taiwo will get the easy flush.
Yeah, good hands there by Elias Taiwo.
Ashley Briggs coming in, and a great ovation from the Solent fans for Wayne Katenge as he makes his way to the bench. 4 of 7 from the floor, 8 points, 9 boards, flirted with a double-double here today, just like he did in the quarter-final win against the Manchester Magic. 9 points, 9 boards in that as well.
Yeah, he's been terrific for them today. You know, Ashley Briggs has struggled with his offense. And, you know, Wayne Katenge's done a great job filling up the gaps.
He got the assist there for Issa Brandon. As the 3 is up, the 3 is good for Lukasevicius. And Matt Guyman calls a timeout with 4 minutes to play. And the Kestrels up big, 78-53. And you can sense this might be a time where A few players now might come into the fold. A bit more frequent substitutions for Matt Guyman's guys.
Yeah, you know, he's a perfectionist. You know, he'll want to get this margin, you know, to a lead where he feels he's happy with it, and then, you know, look to get the younger guys into the game and let them get a taste of this final.
Of course, players who haven't played thus far, Malcolm Sung, a great Itchen product, started 11 of Itchen's 12 games in the EABL this season. Matt Hughes, another product of Itchen College, and played under GB coach Mark Stoutel at Teesside. Those are the two players that have yet to see court time for the Kestrels thus far. As Barking Abbey come back onto the floor, and let's make no mistake, this has been a fantastic season for Barking Abbey. Their first season in Division 2 South. They were on top of the pile for a huge chunk of that season, agonisingly falling short in the final weekend. But Ricky Broadmoor can look back on this season and be incredibly proud with what he's done, how he's achieved it, of course, under the tutelage of James Veer.
Yeah, most definitely. You know, his first year as a head coach leading the senior team. You know, he spoke a lot. We spoke before the game, and he spoke a lot about, you know, the players as characters. You know, he says they go, you know, they're a very tight-knit group. Obviously had a lot of success at the junior level. So, you know, to finish second in Division 2 in a very, very competitive Division 2 is definitely definitely a good job.
Conway is short with the three. On the follow is Taiwo. And they will play until the very last possession, the last buzzer. Will Barking Abbey. Garapi. Solent shooting 45% from the floor, 35% for Barking Abbey. Garapi with 5 to shoot. Garapi, step back. And can't get that to drop. And it's rebounded by Taiwo, who jumped over Greg Durand to get it. And that's deflected right out of bounds. And the security staff do not want any piece of the ball. Why, I don't know. Maybe he's under strict instructions to guard that door under all costs.
Yeah.
Here is Ananwu. Drives at Briggs, and Ananwu will head to the stripe.
That's Briggs done.
That's
done for the night.
Yeah, that's Ashley Briggs fouled out. Ashley Briggs, 4 points on 2 of 4 shooting, 3 assists here today, but he will play no further part. But it's been a good season for Ashley Briggs, regardless. Averaging 8 points, 6 boards a game. In just 21 minutes on the floor on average this season. And Ananwu misses the first. Barking Abbey 9 of 20 from the free throw line here this evening. That tells a big tale of this game.
Yeah, you look at the free throw numbers, you look at the three-point shooting. It's just not been their night tonight offensively.
Durand stolen by Sales. Laquan Sales with the quick hands. And now all the way down Bellevue Lane, but he misses everything. Hoffman with the offensive board, and Aerosol the finish. Conway inside, Wilkinson inside the finish. Aerosol on 34 points. And a foul by Conway. That's only Ethan Conway's first foul of the game. And only a 13th foul as group substitutions will come in. Michael Filio will come in for the first time for Barking Abbey. And Joe Lloyd will check in for Solent. Issa Brandon coming back in. And Greg Durand will also head to the bench. Wayne Katenge comes in. Gets the loudest reception when he comes back on as well.
Yeah, definitely a fan favourite.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but well deserved. I mean, he's been an X factor for them this season. Took some time off from playing, I believe. So in his first season back, he's been terrific for them off the bench.
Aerosol again from downtown. It's almost automatic.
Yeah. With that 3, he's on 37, definitely on 40-piece watch.
6 for 9 from beyond the arc for Andre Aerosol. And he wants a 40-piece, no doubt about it, and so do the fans. Mabaya. And he's short with his 3. On the follow, Kitenge got it blocked by Kitenge from Taiwo. And the first thing that happened when Barking Abbey set that offense was we want 40. That's what the Solent fans want. 4 fouls on Issa Brandon. He will head to the bench. As you see Ricky Broadmoor, a resigned look on his face. Got nothing to be ashamed of, though. Yeah,
it's a tough one. I said it at the beginning. Solent, they're a very well-drilled team. They play together. Everybody's on the same page. Defensively, they pack the paint. They force you to shoot from outside. And, offensively, they run their sets really well. I believe, the proof's in the pudding this year. They've been very consistent. Had a good run in the Cup. Beat London Cavaliers in the Cup. Beat Worthing Thunder in the trophy. They're in some sense a Division 1 team playing in Division 2.
And Yanwu with the hook. And as you were saying that, unfortunately, Andre Aerosol will not get that 40-piece. He checks out. And Matt Hughes comes in for his first minutes. And Falwell Malloy comes in, as does Jaden Dawes. So an Itchen College substitution. And Malcolm Sung also into the game, the number 6. And it's great to see these youngsters getting some minutes. Here is Hughes. Dawes, why not? Misses the 3. Mabaya now out of control. Somehow got that to go up. Well, it looks set that these two teams will share the season series in all competitions, but Solent will get the biggest win of all here today, and that's the playoff championship, securing the double to back up their league title success.
Yeah, too right. It's a testament to the program. The program has built a culture and an expectation where silverware is what they expect and it's what they play for. And just a testament to the the Guyman family and what they've built here.
Falwell Malloy with the rebound off the missed free throw. Sung has it. Lloyd. Sung. Shot clock at 7 for the youngster. Drives with no fear at all, but travels with it. You could see what he was trying to do, and to his credit, no fear whatsoever. He wanted to drive to the hoop, but then got caught in 2 minds. 54.5 seconds remain in the Division 2 season. A very competitive one across the north and the south, but this all-southern affair is going to be a Solent Kestrels party. Mabaya, corner pocket 3 is no good. And the 3 is up from Sales, that's no good either. Mabaya drives to the teeth and scores. And Sung just slowing it down, getting it over the timeline. He is fouled. Only the 13th foul for Barking Abbey, so no free throws for Malcolm Sung. There's around a second differential, nearly 2-second differential between shot and game clock, 1.8 if you really want to be exact about it. Here is Hughes. Hughes inside. Doesn't find anyone in a red shirt as the final seconds tick away. And it's a Solent Kestrel party as Solent reigns supreme in Division 2.
Great performance from Solent. You know, it's never easy to, you know, keep focused, keep motivated for a whole season, but, you know, credit to them. They had their dips in the regular season. You know, it wasn't all happy days. You know, they had the loss against Nassau. They had the loss against London Stars. They lost against Barking. But, you know, credit to the team, credit to the culture that they've built, a credit to the coaching staff, and, of course, a credit to the players.
And you see on the top screen, Matt Guyman hugging his coaching staff, led by Jack O'Keefe. A fantastic end of the season for the Solent Kestrels, who suffered heartbreak, despair here this time last season at the hands of the Milton Keynes Breakers, but they dusted themselves off and they got back to business, and this is their reward, a thoroughly deserved Division 2 playoff championship. Congratulations to everyone involved in that fantastic organisation based out of Southampton. Andre Aerosol certainly enjoying it.
I know he's gutted he didn't get his 40-piece.
Yeah, of course he was here with the Milton Keynes Breakers this time last season. His season ended with a knee injury for the majority, so he missed out. But coming back to Solent and claiming a Division 2 championship, his 7th national title with the Kestrels.
Yeah, an amazing achievement. You know, return to Solent this year, as you said, maybe unfinished business for next season. Who knows? You know, both teams I think have an interesting summer ahead. You know, where do they go? You know, with regards to next season, what league they'll be in next season. Hint, hint. You know, with regards to their players, with recruitment, you know, Barking, talking to Coach Ricky Broadmoor, you know, they lose a lot of their junior players. You know, Amari Wilkinson off to Division 2 college in the States. Luis Obiara off to college in the States. A few of the other players off to prep school, or Ethan Conway off to Canada. So definitely a rebuild for them in this summer. But, you know, like you said, you know, no shame in finishing second in this league. They've done they've had a tremendous year. EABL champions, EABL South Conference champions, and definitely nothing to be ashamed about.
They have had a fantastic season, and Ricky Broadmoor, in his first season as head coach, has a lot to be proud of. And James Veer is in the stands, and he's got to be so proud of what Ricky Broadmoor has done. And the statisticians, referees getting their medals, and now Barking Abbey collecting their runners-up prize. A great season for them, let's make no mistake about it. Narrowly missed out on a championship in the regular season. Competed so well earlier on in the season in the Kit King Trophy. Really taking the game to the Reading Rockets in the pool stages. Of course, beating Solent as well, and narrowly losing out to the Worthing Thunder. And then took Division 2 by storm. First 9 games undefeated. And narrowly picked out to the post by the Kestrels. But a great season for them. They'll be back, and like you said, a number of players, most notably Amari Wilkinson, heading off stateside, Ethan Conway going to Canada. But this is a very strong academy with so many incredible players lined up and just wanting that chance.
Yeah, you know, history tells us that Barking, you know, they'll recruit well this summer. They'll have, you know, the top players coming into the academy next year. Ricky, if Coach Ricky remains there, he will definitely support them with good senior players, as he's done, with the right players that will push them.
And the Solent Kestrels, they were at the other end of the spectrum last season, but now they're tasting glorious, glorious winning here in Manchester. Russell Garapi, who only had 10 points in the game, 3 of 14 from the field. Much converse with what he was doing in the quarterfinals and semi-finals. But Andre Arisol, Issa Brandon certainly picked up the slack. And as a team, performed fantastically here today, getting the win, 83-62. And there'll be one more, well, there'll be two more trophies to collect, the Wilson Golden Ball and then the Division 2 playoff title plaque. The assistant coach there, Khaled Mazuri, probably taking home sneaker of the day, I'd guess, with his Jordan 1s on. How did he get a pair of them? But congratulations to everyone involved with the Solent Kestrels. The Wilson Golden Ball is going to be collected now, and it's almost inevitable, really, who's going to get Finals MVP.
Yeah, really tough decision coming up, don't you think?
I think it's safe to say that it's unanimous. It is Dre Day in Manchester. They all knew it. He knew it. It is time to party. It is time to celebrate Andre Arisol, Division 2 Playoff Final MVP.
Yeah, well deserved, but Andre was phenomenal today. You know, besides that, you could look at the 37 points and think, yeah, he took over. But, you know, on both ends of the floor, getting his team extra possessions. They had no answer for him in ball screens, and he was, you know, he was terrific today.
No doubt Andre Arisol will be joining Verity in just a minute for a post-game chat. However, there is just one trophy left for day one. And there's more pictures being taken with Arisol and Matt Newby, the board director for Basketball England and CEO of Basketball England, Stuart Kellett, and Andre Arisol will loft the plaque aloft. South Coast Dreams in the Northwest. The Kestrels are your Division 2 playoff champions. Final word from you, Chuck, on what has been a fantastic day of basketball. 3 incredible games, and capped off by the Solent Kestrels claiming Division 2 glory.
No, you said it, you know, you hit the nail on the head. 3 amazing games today. You know, started with the Division 3 men's, which was a terrific game, won by Crawley Storm. I think a lot of people picked Birmingham to win just because of the veteran experience, the Division 1 experience, but Crawley really came to play today. Then we had a sensational WNBL Division 2 final between Milton Keynes and London All-Stars. You know, again, very competitive, but, you know, hats off to London All-Stars and what they've built in their first year. And then, you know, today's final game, won by Solent Kestrels, a very dominating, commanding win against Barking. Avengers there, you know, this is a team that beat them not too long ago.
Well, congratulations to today's winners, the Crawley Storm in Division 3. A great moment for Daniel Hildreth and his team. Congratulations to Ruth Eitel and the London All-Stars. And congratulations to the Team Solent Kestrels. And the 37-point MVP, Andre Arisol, is with Verity.
What an incredible achievement for you and the team. How do you feel?
I mean, I feel like we deserve it. We've worked so hard. I think we've got great coaches, great program. So it's just an honor to be able to be the vessel for the program and just go out and compete. And good things happen like this when you work hard. So it feels great.
And personally, and you can't pick yourself up here, because that was an incredible game from you. How does it feel to be MVP and have such an incredible game in a final?
Yeah, I think as the captain and as the leader, it's my responsibility to make sure that we always have our best foot forward always. And personally, it's amazing. This year I felt like I was flowing. I felt like everything was just clicking for me and being able to concentrate on outside life, family, everything was just aligned. So to me, this is just written in the stars.
And how did you keep your head in the game at half-time when it looked like you'd already sort of run away with the win?
Yeah, I mean, we have a great coaching staff. Khaled, Matt, Jack. stats don't lie. We make sure that we keep to the X's and O's and make sure the areas that we aren't so good at, we make sure that's what we're going in the first 4 minutes. So they kept us level-headed, they kept us ready and always making sure that we're outworking every possession that we have. So that bit was easy.
Well, a massive congratulations.
Thank you,
and I
thank
hope
you.
you enjoy the celebration.
100%. Thank you.
To Andre Aerosol, to the Solent Kestrels on a fantastic game, and he is coming right behind us, Chuck, as Ronald Blaine is right behind us as well. Aerosol and Ronald Blaine, of course, former teammates at the Worthing Thunder, and amongst the carnage of the Solent players celebrating is Matt Guyman and Verity. It's all yours.
What does this win mean for you and the team?
It means everything to us. We've worked so hard over the course of the year. We've kind of grown through some real challenges over the course of the year, and to be able to finish like this is fantastic.
And what do you think gave you guys the edge tactically today?
I think we've got some more, some experienced players, like I said before the game, that have been here. We did a good job defensively to start the game, but credit to Bark and Abbey. They've had an incredible year. Coach Ricky has done an amazing job with them. They're so young, and they challenged us all the way through the year.
And I've just spoken to him, but I need to speak to you about him. MVP Andre Aerosol. How important was he today? He's incredible. I'm so glad he was able to have a game like this on this stage. But he's shared championships with us before in Division 1. It's so nice to have him back, the type of character he is, and I couldn't be happier for him. Well, massive congratulations and well done on the win.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Day one of the playoff finals, and Matt Guyman comes over to us on the commentary box. And that ends day one on a fantastic day of basketball, but there is still 2 more games to go. It is Cola against Endeavour Ipswich in the WNBL Division 1 final. And the Reading Rockets taking on the Milton Keynes Breakers to end the season in the NBL Division 1 final. My thanks to Chuck Daru. We'll be back tomorrow afternoon. But for now, I'm John Hobbs. Have a fantastic evening wherever you are. And thank you so much for tuning in. Goodbye for now.